Hi everyone, my name is Mike. Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over 3 different exercises that are designed to help you find relief from your knee pain quickly and effectively. Now, a quick note and disclaimer before we get started. These exercises are meant to be educational in nature only. If you have any questions, please seek the advice of a qualified health professional in your area. I am not your doctor. If you have any issues or any pain while doing these exercises, please stop and refer to a trusted health provider in your state or local area. Now, just quickly, before we get into the exercises themselves, I think it's important to explain a little bit about the why behind why we're doing some of these exercises, and for you to understand exactly what is going on and potentially understand the root cause of where your pain is coming from and why these exercises are helping alleviate your pain. So when we have pain in a joint, specifically in our case, we're talking about the knee joint. The knee joint has millions of nerve endings that bring information from the joint all the way up through our spine and our nervous system into our brain. There's a receiving center in that brain. Now that part of the brain, that processing center, also takes in information from our vision, okay, and from the balance centers that are found inside of our ears. So our brain takes that information, the vision information, the balance information, the information that's coming to it from the joint, and processes all of that and makes decisions about our movement based off of all of that information. Now, if there is a mismatch in that information, let's say there's a physical injury, let's say there's inflammation or damage in the joint, that's called nociceptive pain. Okay, that's a very specific type of pain where that information is coming from the joint and telling the brain that something is wrong. That's, in a way, that's good pain, right? It's telling us that we've maybe reached our limit, or the body needs to repair that area, or we should stop doing whatever we're doing. Okay, that's nociceptive pain. However, if there's no damage in the area, but there has been damage before, our brain can start to process that information over a long period of time into a concept of something called central sensitization, okay? It's a very fancy way of saying that our brain basically gets used to the pain being there, and then even when there's no pain left over in that joint, when there's no damage left over in that joint, there can still be the sensation of pain, and it can still restrict us from doing what we want to do, whether that's hiking, gardening, running, any sort of physical activity that involves the joint that we want to use. Our brain can actually cause pain the other direction. So rather than there being an issue with the joint itself, or even if there is an issue but there's no inflammation, there's nothing actually triggering the nociceptive pain receptors, this is called, in some sense, we can refer to it as phantom pain or protective pain, but it's not truly reflective of the strength and integrity of our joint at that point in time. So with that, if we can tell the brain that our vision is safe, our balance is safe, maybe there's a mismatch with our vision system, our balance system, all of that together can cause us to have an issue with what's going on, and that can manifest itself as pain in that area, okay? So when we do these exercises, you might be wondering, why am I doing a vision exercise? Why am I doing a balance exercise? Why am I training these areas when the pain is in my knee? The underlying root cause is this process. If we can address not only the integrity of the joint, but also the vision system, the balance system, and all the other systems that are working together, we can take a holistic root cause approach to finally getting closer to solving the problem of our pain. Now, before we get started and actually doing the exercises, we want to take an assessment or get a baseline of where we are at right now. So I want us to, on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being absolutely no pain, in which case you probably wouldn't be watching this video because you likely have pain. So 0 being no pain, 10 out of 10 pain being the worst pain you've ever felt. If that's the case, you probably should stop watching this video and go see your trusted health professional, okay? So 10 out of 10 being that worst pain ever. If we're at, say, a 5 out of 10, it's bad enough that we want to do something about it. Maybe it's a 6 or 7 out of 10 and we want to get it down by doing these exercises. So again, we want to take that baseline, figure out where we're at, maybe walk around, maybe do some knee movements and just kind of see where we are right now before we get started. Okay, so I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. Right, we're just doing some movements. It's kind of saying, oh, okay, you know, even for myself, I'm at about maybe a 3 or a 2 out of 10 right now, just because I'm coming off of some running, some physical activity. So that's where I am right now at the start of this video. So for this first exercise, exercise number 1, we are going to incorporate that vision component that I was talking about. We are going to be training our brain to feel safe, to feel in control of how our vision is doing when it comes to all of the communication with our knee, with our balance, with the rest of our muscles and our vision, okay? So this first exercise, what we're going to be doing is we are going to take one finger and kind of put it out at the far side of where we can see. If we're looking straight ahead here, we put one finger out at the edge of our peripherals, okay? The other finger at the other edge of our peripherals, left and right, okay? And then what we're going to do is we are going to look straight ahead to start, okay? Then, keeping our head looking straight ahead, we are going to only move our eyes and we are going to slowly look to the right, and then slowly come back across with our eyes to center, and then come back across to the left. Look at our finger here. Looking back with just our eyes to the center, okay? That's one exercise, so going out and to the left, and then back to center, that's one exercise. So we want to do that 4 to 6 times, okay? If we need balance, then we can do this seated in a chair so that we don't have to hold on to anything. We can just have our fingers out here while we're seated, okay? So that's exercise number 1. All right, so exercise number 2 is also incorporating our vision. So for this one, instead of going out to the left and to the right, to the side, now we're going to do a similar thing, but with our fingers up and down, so low and high, okay? So we're going to be looking straight ahead. We're going to put our fingers where we can see them when we're looking straight ahead, kind of at the edge, the bottom edge, and the top edge, the top peripheral and the bottom peripheral, okay? So then when we are up this high, and we're looking straight ahead, then we are going to move our eyes slowly upwards till we see our fingers, then bring them down back to center, then track them down to our bottom finger, and then back to center, okay? Notice how I'm not moving my head, it's only my eyes moving up and down, okay? So moving up 1 and down 1, back to center, that's one exercise. So we want to do that 4 to 6 times, okay? And that's exercise number 2. All right, so exercise number 3 is going to directly utilize and correlate with our knee and the muscles kind of surrounding the hip joint, the knee joint, and the ankle joint, okay? What we're going to do is the nerve runs, at least for the inside of the knee and part of kind of the front of the thigh here. A lot of times that nerve can cause pain if it's misfiring or if it's communicating something to the brain, and we want to reduce that pain. So what we can do is we can move it or kind of stretch it, glide it back and forth in a safe, gentle manner, and that can often bring our pain down and also loosen up some of the parts of the body that it controls or communicates with. And then once we get motion in there, that's often when pain comes down, okay? So this nerve is called the saphenous nerve, kind of runs in a general pattern, kind of down this inside of the knee, all the way down the leg to the ankle, okay? So what we're gonna do is for the non-injured knee, let's say our right knee is the one that's hurting, that's the one we'll be using. We're gonna put our foot, our left foot, our standing foot out in front of us, okay? Maybe I'll come right here. Left foot out in front of us. Then our knee that we're trying to help, we are going to bend forward into the knee that is not painful, so the left knee here, till we feel a little bit of a stretch kind of on the inner part of our thigh. Once you get that stretch, that's a good sign that you can kind of stop there, okay? Don't push past it, don't like lean into the stretch like really deep. Just push forward into this knee, the left knee, okay? Then what we're going to do is our ankle here on the knee that is hurting, we are going to roll gently our ankle, the inside of our foot, until it's almost flat on the floor, okay? Now, if that causes pain, only go to the part where the pain is coming up to, and that's where you can stop, okay? So roll the ankle, for me, that's this far, and then I'm gonna gently roll back. Now, that motion is also at the same time as leaning into this left knee, so it's kind of one smooth motion, like that. Okay. All right, so once you've got the hang of it, once you've got that smooth motion, rolling and you feel it and you start to feel that stretch, okay? A roll and back is 1 rep of that exercise. So we can do that 4 to 6 times on that leg. If you want to do it the opposite leg, you can, but of course we don't want to go rushing into something too quickly with that right knee, if that right knee is the one that hurts. So if it hurts too much to go into that right knee, feel free to just do it on the right side, the knee that hurts, the stretch part. Don't feel like you have to do it on this side if you don't want to, okay? That's almost like a bonus, all right? That's exercise number 3. All right, so now that we've done those 3 exercises, we want to take another inventory or an assessment of how we're doing, how our pain is feeling on that 0 to 10 scale, maybe some motion in our joints as well. We want to kind of see how that's doing. So again, just do some of those motions that we did at the start, maybe walk around a bit, right? Move our knee. We can even do some squats if we couldn't do it before. We just want to see how we're doing. Of course, the ideal is that our pain has gone down. If maybe we were at a 6 out of 10, we want to see it be at a 4 out of 10 or 3 out of 10. If that's the case, that's awesome. If it didn't change, that's okay. You've done some motions that are important to getting yourself back on the path to health and healing. Motion is always going to be positive for a joint in almost all cases, especially when it comes to reducing pain. If it caused more pain, of course, that's where my disclaimer comes in. If it made it worse, we don't want to push through the pain. That's a common myth that if there's no pain, we don't get any gain, okay? I want to get that out of the way right away. If it causes pain, pain is a signal that our body can use to protect us. And so if that motion causes more pain, feel free to maybe ease off of these exercises, try again in a couple of days. And then if it still persists, please go and get checked out by someone, a local health provider close to you, okay? But hopefully these exercises helped. My goal is that if anything, if this reduced your pain, then we're well on the way to health and healing, and it can be just that simple, okay? So if you like this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Send it to your friends that are dealing with knee pain if you found this useful. And until next time, make sure you get outside. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks.